Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Shout out, man, to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. Like I've been saying for some time now, welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, I'm rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, but we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Fam, how y'all doing tonight, man? Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in the live stream tonight. Big ups to the entire mighty Who Dat Nation. Please feel free to spike upon the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber, and please feel free to give me a who dat in the chat, no matter where you are. If you're listening on Twitter, give me a retweet in the who dat. If you're listening on the gram, give me a shout out. Facebook, Twitch, it doesn't matter. We're across several. LinkedIn, we all over the place. Much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this stream. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week, short week because of Memorial Day and all that kind of stuff, which is always a good thing. You know, I'm always a person promoting a shorter week. Boy, that extra day makes a difference, doesn't it? Imagine if the weekend was 3 days, you know, Sunday, well, not Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, baby. Wouldn't that make a hell of a difference, man? That'll make a hell of a difference, man. I think we'll be a lot more productive like that. It'll create more balance. But anywho, shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. Big ups to all the fam, man. Y'all always share love and give a big shout out to all the mighty Who Dat Nation. There is none greater than the Black and Gold Nation, man. Shout out to you. OG Jerry is in this thing. Big ups to you. Good to see you. Hemisphere, how you doing, fam? Young City is in this thing. Black Major, big ups to you, fam. Big Ant is in this thing. C Bama, Trav 504, big ups to you, brother Farouk, brother Eddie. Edward Green, shout out to you. What's up, Antoinette? Shout out to my queens out there. Big ups to the queens. Always got to do that. Get a shout out to the queens, man. You know, the queens matter, fam. The kings, too. So shout out to everybody. All right, Rico, shout out to you. Inevitable. Slim is in this thing as well. Good to see you, brother. Slim, as always. Bobby, the space host, is in this thing. Pammy Whammy, shout out to you. Brother Gregory is in this thing. Paper Chaser. Big ups to you. Cartel Boy, Bo. Shout out to you. Good to see you. Jason, I see you, man. Much love to you as well. Jamaica, what's popping, Jamaica? How you doing? DJ Twigger is in this thing. Nola Gang Podcast. How you doing, sir? What's up, Philip? How you doing, brother? Good to see you in this thing. Hope you're doing good, my fam. Louisiana is in this thing as well. Tuck, big ups to Tuck as always. Brother Dedrick, brother Robert Bros in this thing. Everybody, man. I see you, Eldon. Shout out to you, fam. Good to see you. Brother Joseph, how you doing, fam? Joseph Dinkins in this thing. Brandon, how you doing, sir? Big ups to you. Huggy Bear, what's up, Huggy Bear? 504 in this thing. Big ups to you, man. Appreciate everybody, man. Got to give everybody a shout out, man. You know how we do. Well, in this one, man, this one right here, this stream, man, it's the Saints offensive coordinator, Klint Kubiak, is the key, baby. The key to breaking the 3-year playoff drought, fam. We're going to dig into this. Brother Dewan, I see you, fam. Big ups to you. This is, you know, one of the things we talk about all the time, you know, And we went over this stuff. We talked about it ad nauseum. We talked about it. And with me, there is no agendas. There is no narrative. It's only the truth. And that's 100% real. That's how I've been doing this for so many years. And if anybody asks me about it, say, Q, what I need to do something, just, bro, listen, sis, listen, just keep it real and operate with the truth, straight up and down, because there's too many, because a lot of people like to twist narratives because their bosses believe in narratives. This is truth, and they have to protect this, it's a protective coating webbed around the saints. It really is. And I often talk about it, that is people that they're trying to protect from criticism. It's a protective coating weaved around them. And it's not just something that sporadically happen. There are people that's applying the coating because there are people being paid to act as protectors while they're pretending not to be. But like I said, there is no narrative with me, only the truth. Whether that makes the Saints look off code or on code, it doesn't matter. My code is keeping it real and telling the truth. That's straight up and down respect to the Who Dat Nation, because you guys deserve that, man. You don't need me to stand up here and spin narratives and tell you, oh, Dennis Allen is the greatest thing from since sliced bread, or just criticize players all day. I don't do that. That's not what I'm about. I keep it real. Now, I trust and believe if players do something they're not supposed to do, I'm going to call it out. I calls it out all the time because that's what you're supposed to do. I don't play any favorites. I like certain players and coaches on the team, but I don't play favorites. That's how it goes. But in this stream, man, the reason why I'm saying that is because I've been hypercritical. Let's just say it like that. I've been hypercritical of the New Orleans Saints organization over the last 2 years, and that's because of attributes within the team that are missing, leadership that was missing, which was causing breakdowns in the team, fractures to occur, and then pretending like fractures aren't there. So, I mean, now you see this year with all of the pressure mounting, and that's why I'm saying you got to put pressure on these people so they can turn around. You just can't let them have it a free way and just do all this kind of stuff, because no, we're not doing that. It's supposed to be pressure. If money's involved, there's going to be a lot of pressure, because people can do something else with their bread. They can invest it in their children. They can invest it in themselves. They can create business. They can go on vacation. They can buy more food for their house, do renovations to their home, buy a new car, whatever the case may be. They don't have to turn it over to the Saints. Let me tell you the real deal. They don't have to give it to the Saints. But if you do decide to support the team, let it be something that is in a positive gesture, saying, oh, y'all guys are doing what y'all supposed to doing because y'all showed me. So here you go. So the reason why I start with all that is to say this. The New Orleans Saints finally, and that's what I said, they finally got it right. Now, if you've been listening to the stream for at least a couple of years, you've known me, I've been doing this for a long time. So when we hear like what the Saints have been doing as of recent, and this happened right up to the OTA interviews of a couple of days ago, not this last round, but the round before, when all of them came out with the press conferences, and then you start hearing what was the thought process, because that's what I was listening to going into the OTs. What is the floor? What is the foundation of what this is being built on? Like, we just moved from one group to another group. What is the difference between the groups? What are the difference in between the personalities? Who are these people? And what are they actually going to do? And should we be enthused about what they're going to do? But then you start hearing them talking about what they want to do. And then you say, that's what I've been waiting to hear. I've been waiting to hear about accountability, attention to detail, stuff we talk about all the time. I've been waiting to hear about that. Leadership, somebody that's meticulous, that watches every position, everything, that is serious about what they're doing. In this group that the Saints currently have, I think they might be that group. Now, of course, you got to show us, let me see if I can hit the right button here. There we go. That's what the Who Dat Nation has been saying, man. We done took Glenn Jones' song and kind of adopted it into Who Dat Nation, where we wanted to show if we're going to support in full, you got to show us what you're doing, because it's been 3 years of funk. You know, you can't keep hitting us with the okey doke every year. But I do like what I'm hearing. I do like the Klint Kubiak. I do like Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak. I like his philosophy. I do like Andrew Janoku. I do like the running backs coach. I like Coach Dub, the wide receivers coach. I do like John Benton. I do like these offensive people that they brought in here. I like how they talk, and I like how serious they are about their job. I do like these guys. I think they are serious. And also they know they feel the pressure, because the offense will be tasked with turning everything around. It has to be the offense. And you know the schedule. You know how that schedule starts off with Carolina, and then it goes all these other teams, Philly, Atlanta's thrown in there. Who else is it? Somebody else, and then there's Kansas City thrown up in there. And that's early on. So we got to turn this thing around. We got to hit it. It don't have to be perfect, but we have to learn and win. We have to learn and win, people. All right. So anyway, this is the thing. Gary Kubiak is the key. He's definitely the key to get the Saints out of playoff purgatory over the last 3 years. We have to get this done. He has to show up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a little bit of Klint Kubiak's interview. And of course, I'm going to play a little of Taysom Hill's interview. We did like an hour and 30-something minute show on Tuesday on Patreon for our Patreon family members. Y'all can go back and listen to it. We reacted to the interviews, and I did breakdowns there. That's available on our Patreon and our YouTube membership family. A lot of content. There's a ton of shows there. But we kind of went over it, and we talked about the comparisons to what Klint Kubiak had when he was in Minnesota, when he acted in his role with Shanahan in San Francisco. And you have to have certain players to operate said system. Well, they had Christian McCaffrey, who was a complete beast for the 49ers, and a big reason why they went as far as they went. A lot of people not talking about that. But can Alvin Kamara, that's right, AK-41, who is just in many ways severely underrated. Like they think he's just an all-purpose player, this, that, and the third, and he can do a lot. But the reality is, can Alvin Kamara do what Christian McCaffrey did for the 49ers? Can he tote all that yardage? Could he do all that stuff? And I know we have a running back room where we can do such and such, but just look how Shanahan them used McCaffrey for the 49ers. Can Alvin Kamara do that? Can we expect a yardage explosion from Alvin Kamara, man, under Klint Kubiak style offense? Now, we know about Taysom, and I want to just probably say farewell to Taysom, the quarterback, because as you can hear when he was talking in the interview, I said this, I was like, man, you say goodbye to Taysom Hill, a quarterback. Remember, it was years and Taysom said, hey, man, I'm a quarterback. Well, no, you're not. And I kept saying that. The man's not a quarterback. Even when the Saints gave him an opportunity to pass the ball, he would just run. Not all of those calls with Taysom Hill was in there as a quarterback last year. It was called for him to run the ball. Now, he actually had opportunities, it was up to his discretion in many of those where he had the option to either throw the ball or run. And the majority of the time, Taysom Hill took the hell off. And like I was saying, I was like, fam, this guy gets more yardage as a running back than he does at anything else. Even as a wide receiver catching the ball, he's a runner. Klint Kubiak, Andrew Janoku recognizes this, and they're going to utilize him as such. So, man, let me tell you, man, all I can tell you, fam, is that we have the right. I've been saying that we have the talent. But let me ask you guys, what you think? Can Alvin Kamara, I know we have a loaded running back room, but can Alvin Kamara have probably one of the best seasons that you ever seen from Alvin Kamara? Think about that, because we forget about Alvin Kamara. We really do. With all the things that he can do, we forget about him sometimes, because over the last couple of years, the Saints had a governor on him. They had him tamped down where he couldn't get busy, where he couldn't get loose like he wanted to see Alvin Kamara. He was frustrated. The offensive line didn't do all the stuff that they can do. And he finished with like 700 yards or just under 700 yards, something laughable. But the truth is, and a really good offense, Alvin Kamara should average at least 1,000 yards rushing, right? Are y'all with me on that? At least, at the very least. I mean, because a lot of people like, man, looking at with Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara for a while, a lot of people kind of seen them as a similar style back. And Christian McCaffrey had all of those injuries in Carolina, and he still was able to do what the 49ers wanted him to do, come out the gate and do all that stuff. Can that be Alvin Kamara, fam? I really am looking forward to seeing if that could be AK-41. I'm just saying, man, if similarities are anything, man, I would love to see that part of the game. I'm not going to kid you. All right. Thank you, Louisiana. Sure. What's up, brother Hakeem? How you doing, sir? He said he has got gas left for sure, but it depends on his usage rate. I believe he drafted Miller to replace him eventually. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't think he's done, but I believe it's his last year with us. Thank you, brother Hakeem. Shout out to you, brother. How you doing tonight, man? Good to hear from you, bro. All right. Big ups to the fam, man. All right. Official bad mother shucker says AK been in the system. Look back to 2018. The same concept. Sean ran that type of West Coast offense that year. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. What's up, Mocha? Shout out to Mocha. Good to see you in the chat, man. Great commentary from the Great Saint Think Tank, as usual, man. All right, brother. Let's see. Hemisphere says AK-41, Laddie, Daddy, both wants to win games, but I don't blame them to show their disappointment in the team under DA. Absolutely. But see, like I said, when I talked about people weaving narratives to protect coaches, no, the reality is you can't do that, to be fair, because if there's, and I called it the excuse matrix, is what the Saints do every year. Like when the year ends, right at the end of the year, and the year ends in failure, the excuse matrix starts. The excuses come out. The injuries, we didn't do this because of injuries. The players wasn't there. Never mind the fact that you're supposed to create a depth chart where you absorb as many injuries as you possibly can. Never mind that. But all of it comes out, the promotion, the propaganda. I call it propaganda because it's some BS and bunk. You're never supposed to use excuses on why you failed at anything. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. Okay, if you failed, then get some of the money back. Oh, what? That's outrageous. Oh, that's just terrible. Did you hear what that guy said? He said, give the money back. Oh, that's outrageous. Yeah, get the money back. I like car insurance. Hell, if I check this out, if I go the whole year without having a car accident, I want you to give me half my damn money back that I paid. I didn't do it. Give it back. Give me half the money back. Give it. If I didn't have a ticket or a car accident, give me half the damn money back. That's outrageous. You heard that guy, what he said? He said, give the money back. Oh my God. That's sacrilegious. Oh, wow. That's terrible. Oh yeah. It's terrible. All right. It's terrible. But this is the thing we're talking about, man. Like, for the system to really work the way it is, and Klint Kubiak was saying about the running attack, we have to do that. We have to lean on the best running back we have is Alvin Kamara. Now, we have a very sick room, meaning great room of guys. Obviously, Kendre Miller, if you was watching some of the footage from practice, Kendre Miller, man, and if you know who he is and you paid attention to Kendre Miller from his TCU days, you know who that guy is. Kendre Miller is the real deal. I mean, if you remember toward the back end of the season, like Jamal Williams wasn't getting that yardage. Kendre Miller was getting there and getting that yardage. Damn, why is he having a rhythm with the Saints offense? Because he had the ability to make the first tackler miss. He had it. Go back and watch the film. We covered it here on Patreon, the All 22. When Kendre Miller was getting in there, and the Saints blocking wasn't hitting on nothing, there was always one player that would get in that hole that was stop right there, and he would have to juke him, shake him. And then once he did that, he was able to climb to the next level. But he had the ability to make the first tackler miss, and then he was able to climb to the next level. We're going to need a lot of that. But like I said, John Benton talks about having these guys to block a certain way, not just blocking the players, but getting to spots on the field and cutting off pursuit angles. If you go and watch the San Francisco 49ers, how they do it, you can see exactly what John Benton's talking about. He really wants to mirror that style, which I think that'll be a tremendous style for the Saints to have, because when you have as many young offensive linemen or that we're going to be putting out there, you're going to need to run the ball to kind of protect them, if you know what I mean. You're going to have to, and you have to lean on the best thing you have. And it ain't no disrespect to Derek Carr, but the best thing the Saints have offensively in terms of their rooms is the running room. You got to lean on it. So we do have the people to get it done from a running perspective. If the offensive linemen do what they're supposed to do under John Benton, we will see a lot of that happen. So it's going to be cool. What's up, Kathleen? Good to see you out here. Brother Byron, what's up, Byron? How you doing, fam? Good to see you as well. Big ups to you. Kevin says, saw Madden 25 Carolina. Saints game 1 sim and had Pete Carr's offense on it. Yeah, they ain't been updated yet, brother. All right. What's up, Antoinette? She jamming in the chat, man. Yeah, that showed me the truth, right? That's what we adapted. We've been doing that for how many years now? The last couple of years. I've been hitting that button for that show me. Because they talk a lot of mess, fam. But we from Louisiana, but we can share that sentiment from Missouri, the show me state. No, we won't prove. You're going to have to show us what time it is to get this money back. But anyway, let me look at this article right here from NFL.com. They put this out here, and this is what they call the biggest remaining offseason priority for each NFC team. You know, that's what they were looking at, the main priority. What's the biggest priority? Now, according to NFL.com, they're saying the top priority is make sure Derek Carr is on the same page with Klint Kubiak. That's their main priority. He says after 2 years of hoping to replicate Sean Payton's offense without the master, Dennis Allen finally moved on to a new offense. Kubiak brings the tenets of Shanahan's scheme dating back to the coaching days of Mike Shanahan and Clint's father, Gary Kubiak, that should fit the Saints personnel well. I often talk about like the history of all this is very unique. Out of all the systems that we adopt, we are adopting Klint Kubiak, Gary Kubiak, who was beat out by Sean Payton many moons ago for the job. So we're cycling back to what they originally wanted, because Gary Kubiak was the guy they wanted over Sean Payton. They wanted Kubiak, but Kubiak leveraged his Houston Texans contract that he got with the Saints because he wanted to come to New Orleans. They all want to come to New Orleans. They all do. Tom Brady was the same way. That's why he was pissed off with the Saints, and he talked all that mess way after the fact, because you don't turn down Tom Brady. The Saints turned Tom Brady down for Drew Brees because they were waiting to see what Drew was going to do. And Drew said, okay, I'll come back for 1 more year. Well, Tom Brady didn't like that. That's why he waited until after the signing. He's basically saying to sign the same contract and made it a point to take down Drew's records and everything. And then stand up there on the field and shake hands with them. I wouldn't even shake hands with them. Slimy mother. But anyway, it's weird how that comes back to circle, how it all comes back around. They didn't pick up Gary Kubiak because they didn't want to match the contract that the Texans wanted, because he said, can y'all match this money? Tom Benson said, oh, no, I ain't matching that. So Kubiak went to Houston, and we got Sean Payton. So it's crazy how we're cycling back to Kubiak's son, Clint, to say, help us out now from Sean's offense. But I'm not going to say that's Sean's offense. That wasn't Sean Payton's offense, man. What Carmichael was running, it lacked aggression, it lacked common sense, it lacked imagination. That's not what Sean. That was a bad clone copy of Coach Payton's system that Pete Carmichael was trying to run. It didn't have any force. It didn't have any consistent intelligence. It was weak, and you had a beta male running it with no accountability no attention to detail. The dude was a guy that was just a mouse. He was a mouse among men. Let me just keep it real with you. He was a mouse among men. When he got out, he had them old teeth, and he looked like, I ain't gonna call a man out, but he, you know, you got Dennis Allen in them. He looked like he's shrinking up like a mouse, and Dennis Allen he got that old possum face when they lose, and boy, they look like two rodents that you need to send Arkin over there to clean out from over there. But it was just a bad look. But I'm saying it was a bad look. But anyway, Kubiak brings tenets of Shanahan's scheme dating back to the coaching days of Shanahan and Clint's father, Gary Kubiak, that should fit the Saints personnel well. Pre and post snap motions, outside zone runs, and attack in the middle of the field all set up well for New Orleans' weaponry. It does. It's a quarterback-friendly system. We hear that all the time, which bodes well for Carr, but it's not a given that the veteran will thrive. He struggled last season amid injuries and inconsistent play. Well, at least he told the truth on that. The hope is that Kubiak will smooth out those issues. It's a massive year for everyone involved in New Orleans, from Allen to Carr all the way on down. Another season without a playoff berth in a winnable division could be followed by major changes within the franchise. They're banking on Kubiak turning around the offense that hasn't found the groove since Drew Brees retired. Got to get this guy a shout out because he told the truth. He didn't sit up here and sugarcoat, say Carr, with just that amount of statistics. If you watch the game, the stats do lie to you because it was not a very good looking season for the Saints offense. It wasn't smooth. You've seen a lot of back ass stuff going on, a lot of inconsistencies between the wide receivers and the quarterback and wide receiver. Every game, it seems like the majority of the games, they weren't on the same pages. Derek Carr was throwing to Arizona field. His wide receivers wasn't. He was throwing outside. They was cutting inside. He has to direct them. I was throwing here. You do. It was too much. Like, damn, don't you guys practice? That's what the practice is for. I know you ain't running that many plays where you can't remember what you're doing. But it was not a good looking sight. Now, later on down the line, when the Saints started playing better as a collective, offensive wise and defensive wise, you started to see improvement in that last month. But by that time, it was too late. But I agree with this fellow's, well, not so much about Derek Carr should be the top priority. We know Derek Carr, you got to win. We need a quarterback to play well to win. But listen, I'm not looking at Derek Carr. The top priority should be for the Saints to run the ball behind Alvin Kamara, not Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not the answer, and he's not the top priority. I know he's getting $150 million. I know he's the quarterback of your team, but it is about running the ball. We need to run the ball. We've got to run the ball behind Alvin, Kendre Miller, Jamal Williams, and Taysom Hill. Remember, all those in the same room. Taysom Hill. Bye-bye, quarterback Taysom Hill. Bye-bye. No more of this predictable nonsense because this guy, Klint Kubiak, doesn't like predictableness. He doesn't like predictability. The offense is built to be something that's hard to discover what they're doing while forcing you to tip your hand on defense. It's hard to stop something like that. That's why the 49ers, people have difficulties with the 49ers in stopping what they do. You have to be on code and knows their system, which bodes well for the Saints defense to be preparing against that offense. That will make the Saints defense a lot better too. And I can just imagine when the 49ers and the Saints meet, when they finally meet, not on this schedule, but they ultimately, when the Saints, if the Saints make the playoffs, hopefully they'll meet in the playoffs. And this could tell everything. So like I said, if we can run the ball, I think you can get Derek Carr together because Klint Kubiak and Andrew Janockel and Dennison, who's also there, is going to help Carr do what he's supposed to do. But it's really on a running game. And this is no difference because Klint Kubiak said this when he started. So, let me do that. We're going to do that. Let's hear a little bit from Klint Kubiak, and then we'll jump to the Taysom Hill stuff because like we just talked about Alvin Kamara. That's a big chip here. Alvin Kamara should have probably the best season that we've seen him ever have. And he's been having some phenomenal years, but this should be a big season for him and our running back room. Taysom Hill outplay some of him. You can listen to what he was saying about how they're using him differently, like he's never been used before, because they're getting him ready for. And we talked about this weeks ago before, because you look at their system and they need certain players to activate and do that. Well, you have what the 49ers did with CJ, with run CM, what they call him, Christian McCaffrey, run CMC or whatever you want to call it. But that guy, who do you have for him? All purpose. That's Alvin Kamara. We can use that. When you talk about a guy like Kyle Juszczyk, who's our Kyle Juszczyk? Is it Xander Horvath, who's a guy they picked up, a versatile fullback type guy? You can give him the ball. Or is it Taysom Hill? It's Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill can do a lot of the same things that Juszczyk can do. And I think that if trained properly, he can probably do a little bit better, because he's more athletic than Juszczyk. He's strong, and you can split him out as a wide receiver. He is something dangerous if you know how to use him properly. And like the Saints were using him over the last couple of years in that predictable RPO package where he barely threw the ball. He had like 11 attempts or something like that. 8 of 16 or 8 of what's some stupidness the whole year. And everybody knew when he was out there, he was going to run the ball. No, but this is different. You get Taysom Hill to the second level of the defense where he's running up, running against defensive backs on angles. Dude, this could be something else if they can implement it properly. But let's listen to Klint Kubiak. Here we go.
The assimilation going in the learning process and the teaching.
It's been good. 2 practices in, the guys have a lot to learn. Mainly just how to practice and how to stay up. But we've been really pleased with it thus far.
What are you seeing, I guess, from yourself being in this role and position with a new organization?
Yeah, it's been really fun. It's been really rewarding to work with really good people, starting with Coach Allen. And, we got some really good coaches on our offensive staff, as well as getting our players better.
Clint, when you're working with a lot of veteran players on understanding a new playbook, new system, guys who've maybe been in a system for a long time, what's kind of like your thing where you're trying to, like what's your big thing that you want these guys to take away from the early part of this?
This time of year, it's all teaching, installation and trying to slow it down, starting from scratch and not assuming anything, just trying to be really good at the details and just understanding, like you said, there's first-year guys, rookies, and we got 13-year veterans. So we're going to keep it simple initially and just make sure we're as detailed.
Clint, do you envision utilizing Alvin Kamara very similar to McCaffrey?
Yeah, I think it'll be really fun to work with Alvin. He's got a great skill set that we can do a lot of things with. So I think it's just up to us as coaches identifying those things and him putting in the work.
One of the things with the Sean Payton offense that we've seen for a long time here is kind of famous for those really long play calls. How would you describe the verbiage of your offense? What do you try to do?
Yeah. Well, I can't speak for that for Coach. I would say that we're a West Coast offense, for whatever that means to everybody. We're going to be probably as wordy as the quarterback can handle, and I think our quarterback is a very smart player. He can handle a lot. So I think we're going to challenge him early this time of year in the off season, and him and his teammates, and see what they can handle.
Did you feel like New Orleans was the right place for the next step in your career?
I think it just came down to the people that you're working with. Coach Allen gave me an opportunity, and Mickey Loomis, getting to work with guys that I've worked with before and been in the fire with, like Rick Dennison and Andrew Janocko, and some new coaches that I'm learning that I'm really impressed with. So it all comes down to the people. It's a hard job with long hours, so you got to be around people that you respect and have your back, and we have that here.
Clint, how much does it help that you do have a veteran quarterback that you can, that can handle the verbiage? Because obviously you want to accelerate the process as much as you can.
Oh, it helps tremendously. And Derek he's had a.
You did, Philip. He was there. Good eye, bro. You caught it. I seen him back there because the camera pan. He was there. You seen him. He was there.
Really good offseason thus far. He's putting in the work. He's here after hours. Just really studies his tail off, and then his teammates see how hard he works, and he brings their level of play up as well.
If there were a couple things that you would say define your kind of philosophy, what would a couple of those things be?
We're just stressing the players this time of year to be smart, tough, and dependable. And regardless of the scheme and what that brings, if we can just start with that, we'll be in good shape come training camp as we keep working.
I think, and one of the things we talked about, he hadn't said it here, but this is something I've heard him say a couple of times prior to him coming to New Orleans was he talked about stressing the players. And what he was saying in prior interviews was that he likes to run high stress practices. And his thought process for running high stress practices where he throws a bunch of stuff at him and kind of tries to stress him out is he believes that if you can handle that type of stress during practice, then it should be that much smoother for you when the game hits, that you will be able to kind of smooth out things, which is a very interesting concept. Very interesting concept. As opposed to practices being smooth and this type of stuff. That's a very different concept altogether. We'd love to see how that works out, man. We'd love to see high stress practices.
Well, I think, our scouting department did a great job of, identifying all the players that we've drafted. But we like a lot of things about Spencer, but the things that take no talent, and to me, that is his attention to detail really stuck out. His effort, his drive to be better. To me, that doesn't take a whole lot of talent. It's something that's inside, and he has that in spades.
How's that looked already?
Yeah, it's 2 days into it. It's 2 practices into it. He has been excellent, as well as Kellen Mond in the meeting room. So it's been a positive start.
How about Taysom Hill? He seemed like of all the offensive tackles you guys were scouting around one, had done the most wide zone run blocking. I mean, does he feel like a good fit for this offense in particular?
Yeah, we definitely think so, and we love the person. We love his work ethic, and we love the type of teammate that he was at Oregon State. So amongst all the skills that made him a first-round draft pick, it's really the intangibles that he brings that we're looking forward to.
And I know Coach said you guys are going to look at him at left tackle because you've seen him at right tackle. What about him makes you think he could possibly be good at either position?
Oh, he's a tremendous athlete. We identified that early, just how athletic he is, how mean he is, in a good way. And we definitely wanted to see what he looks like at left for this camp.
How do you think so far he's handled the mental load of doing that, switching positions, just in addition to everything else the rookies are kind of learning now?
Yeah, well, one of the huge reasons we drafted him was his intelligence, and he's been, just like all the other guys, putting in a lot of work. He came out and definitely has not disappointed. But again, it's 2 days into it, and we're not going to crown anybody or go the other way on the first 2 days. But we are happy with what we got thus far.
How has Bub looked to you in the first 2 days?
Yeah, Bub is in the same way. He brings a lot of positive energy. He got a big smile on his face. He really likes football, which is important because we're here long hours, and you got to love it in order to be a great player. So he's had a good first step.
This interesting, man, comment by Will. Will says, I like how DeMario basically called out Alvin Kamara for not being here. Remember, AK was talking about culture last year. And like I said, fam, remember there was the, quote, fractured, end quote, players, non-existent fractured players that were talking. Alvin was one of those guys. He didn't like what was going on. And like I said, like we heard media people, I'm not going to say who it is, Fozzie A. Bear. Get it? Fozzie A. Bear? Fozzie? Anyway, the interesting part about the philosophy is, like with the support base, people are, and players too, want to see what this looks like. People wants to be, they want to be proven, they want to be able to get there and do what they got to do. But it's certain, like I said, certain people who are playing it back. Demario Davis, didn't talk like Cam. Cam was talking, Demario was talking. I mean, not Demario. Cam was mentioning it. Elvin was talking. Lattimore didn't like what was going on. And my philosophy is, I think it's good when players, some of our best players, are upset about losing. I think that's good. I would rather have upset players that's upset about losing and lack of leadership going around in the team than players that are complacent that's playing for a check. I'd rather have my players upset. Why? Because during the season, we're upset. We're upset about this level of play. We didn't like it at all. And all we were hearing about, well, this, that, and the third. I don't want to hear that. Change something, do something. And they didn't do that. Not offensively speaking. So I mean, like I said, still it's not all good yet. Like we do like a lot of the things that we are hearing from the new people coming in, which means we'll give them an opportunity. We'll give them a chance to see what they can do, but it'll be cautious optimism. You see what I'm saying? And we'll be like, oh, okay, we're not going to jump off the boat and be, and throw everything to you because of the last couple of years, man, we just been, you done took us, rope-a-doped us. You done rope-a-doped us, man. So you're going to have to earn a lot of that back. And like I said, I don't like what the guy said about Lattimore either. I did a whole stream on it, just literally, pick it apart. That was really hateful. But that's what people that protect the team do. They will spin all kind of narratives. They'll weave a lie of to protect people, the decision makers. They'll put all the blame on the players. They'll put all the blame on the players and none where it belongs. And that's what we here for. We here to smack that down and say, you're not going to do that, stupid. You're not going to run this kind of game. You're not going to do that. And a lot of times those guys, the players, they can't talk like we talk. And that's pretty cool too, because a lot of these guys will say, man, we got your back, brother. We're not going to let this buffoon over here who sound like he eating gumbo all day, every day, every hour, step in and tell you that you can't talk. The nerve, the barefaced nerve.
When you look at Derek's season last year, it's obviously some highs and lows. You get that with every quarterback. But like, what was kind of the main takeaway for you when you were kind of going back and looking through all that? And how do you pull more of the highs out, I guess?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've followed his career since he's been drafted out of Fresno State. So I've seen, I've been in his division and see him come back and beat us many times. So he's got a lot of talent. He's been with some really intelligent coaches. So he has a lot of football up in his mind right now. And we're just trying to slowly install our system and take it one day at a time.
What's up, Barbara?
The main thing I'd say about that is I think he just has a grit about him. And I really love his grit and his smarts. And that's something that we're just going to keep building on with him.
Is there anything about what you've seen with him in the past that makes him a really good match for this system from the get-go?
Athleticism. He's a really good athlete. I think that's something that's not said enough about him. So, but no, that's the main thing that I saw.
Good point, Hakeem. Great point, bro. Not worried about AK. When have we ever had to worry about AK-41 being ready? If there were football games to be played right now, Alvin Kamara can play right now. He's always ready to play. I got to give it to that brother. I got to give it to him. There is no player on the Saints team that you can call out besides, I mean, a few people, but Alvin Kamara is always in tip-top condition. Always. He's always ready to go. So, like I said, I'm not going to worry too much about it because I know Alvin Kamara is super smart. And a lot of this offense is going to go through him. That's why I'm anticipating he's going to have a rock solid year this year.
Taysom Hill's obviously had like a really unique role in the offense they've ran here for a long time. I don't know if that fits what you do in your scheme, but like you have to kind of look at what he did and try to figure out how it works in that.
Yes, Taysom has been phenomenal here early. We've been kind of moving him in a lot of spots.
What's up, Malcolm?
His entire career, really intelligent guy.
Brother Malcolm.
Looking forward to just kind of, giving him a lot of volume early, and then we'll start narrowing it down as we get closer to the season.
What are some of the things just from last year being in San Francisco that you feel like were maybe influential on you, or were maybe like a learning experience or eye-opening or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say just the entire organization. Starting with Kyle, the way that he runs the team and he runs the offense, and it was just a real pleasure to be around him last year and see his work ethic and see how he treats his players and that. The way that he game plans.
This is the thing, though. Spice making some points. As a fan, AK not being there is more of a negative effect on improving the team's culture. If that is one of the off-season goals, I mean, I can't dispute your logic, but I could say that, that's the like we heard what Demario Davis says, but that's why it's symbolic. These are voluntary. They decide on if they're going to be there or not. But just because they're not there doesn't mean they're not working somewhere. Now, of course, I would love to see Alvin Kamara out there with the rest of them. I seen Jamal Williams out there running around and Kendre Miller out there getting their work in. Chris Olave was out there doing his thing. You're doing it and a lot of starters was out there handling the business. And I would love to see Elvin out there. I would love to see Laddie Dad and a few other players out there doing their thing as well, because you just would love to see your best players out doing their thing. But like I said, it's voluntary, and most of these guys decide on whether or not they want to attend or not. And I look at it and I can see both sides. I can see both sides, because we're definitely in need of a culture transfusion. And we need to take the culture to the doctor, and it needs a transfusion ASAP. You know what I'm saying? The culture definitely needs a transfusion. It definitely needs that, because the reality is, um, like I said, it has not been very good over the last couple of years, man. It's been up and down and rocky. We've seen some bad football. We've seen a couple of good games of football, but not nearly as enough as what we need to be able to turn the tide where we break this damn streak of this, you know. But like I said, I can see both sides, man, and it's voluntary. So if he wants to chill, and I see you, Rico say you can't blame him. No, I don't think it's blame. I don't know. Somebody might be blaming him in the chat, but I can see both sides of it. It's voluntary. You can't really if it was not voluntary and he was saying, "Hey, man, you better be here," and he doesn't show up. Oh yeah, that's like, what's going on here? If it's not a really serious matter, then we understand. But when it's voluntary, they have the option. Hey, man, I'm giving you the option to either you can come on and work out with us or not. And they said, well, I'm gonna be over here doing it with my family, working out with my family. I'm good on it. I got you. I understand that too. So, like I said, I can see both sides. Here we go.
And you guys have like a lot of young coaches on the staff, but also like some experience, especially on the offensive line side with Rick and John. How important was it for you to get two guys with a couple decades of experience, and especially at that position?
Yeah, that was critical. It always is. I think Coach Dennison and Coach Benton are a huge piece of us having success, and really lucky, really fortunate to get to work with them again.
What do you want the identity of your offense to be?
Yeah, that's up to the players. We gotta see what we're going to be good at, and that's to be determined. And they're off to a good start though.
Is there any particular of your previous positions that you'd say were most influential in the type of offensive coordinator you believe you are now?
Yeah, it's not one thing. It's not. And I think I've been really lucky to be around a lot of different guys, whether it was the air raid in college, or being in the West Coast, or being with North Turner and the digit system. And there's a lot of ways to do things, and I think that we're starting to work on what our identity is going to be. We're putting our offense in. We're taking it slow, and who we're going to be, like I just said, is going to be up to our guys more than it is about me.
When you came in the offseason, I took a look at kind of what happened with the offense last year. I think the Saints had the second worst yards per carry. When you looked at it, could you identify kind of maybe why that was, or what your takeaway was, and was there an easy fix to that? It's probably never an easy fix.
Yeah.
But.
No, we're just looking at the players and the roster and the guys we have, and we're moving forward, and we're trying to build on what we can be this year.
Obviously, offensive philosophies adapt and evolve all the time, but you get paired with your dad all the time and his philosophy and Mike Shanahan's philosophy. Is there some things about those core principles that still ring true and don't need to change?
Yeah, absolutely. That is our foundation. Those two guys. That's our bedrock. That's where we're starting. That's what Coach Dennison and Coach Benton are bringing, and what we do from there, kind of, we'll just evolve as we install our offense. But we want to have that same type of a foundation that Mike Shanahan started.
And is it fair to say, as simple as it sounds, the run game and the play action passing game are still two great foundations to have in an offense?
Absolutely, yeah. And you can't play action if you can't run it. So we definitely got to be really cognizant about being good teachers and installing our run game.
How will you use your father as a resource going forward? I mean, you have a lot of your own experience now and probably your own ideas too. But how do you expect to use him? Like a daily sounding board, or just once in a while when something hits you and you're like, I wonder what he thinks?
Yeah, every day. I would talk to him most days, and he's definitely going to be dialed into what we're doing. But I also have him, and I have Coach Dennison that's coached with him for so long, and that's really almost the same brain right there. So we're really lucky to get to work with Rick.
All right, yeah. Will says the identity is up to the players was an interesting response. I know I was going to stop it there, but I know I had a few to get through the rest of the interview. It's up to the players. That's interesting because when you come into this type of situation, and listen, that's a comment I've heard him say, and it's been a few times that I've heard his interviews, stuff from other places, a lot of stuff from other places, and the interviews of 2 or 3 of them. I think he did 3 of them so far, maybe 3 interviews with the Saints so far that we've actually caught. This one, the 1, 2, like 3 of them. He did one with WWL, and the comment about him saying it's up to the players, which depends. I guess he's saying, well, whatever catches fire, we'll work with it. Well, that's not how the system works. That's not how we've seen. Well, I guess if it was Christian McCaffrey just caught fire with the system, he's like, man, let's ride the hot hand. So that's and we have to keep an eye out on that one. Good catch, Will. I caught that and I was like, hold on now. I don't like to hear that. That's some bit of uncertainty, right? I don't like that. What do you mean? It was such a with Derek Carr story. Hold your horses here, buddy. We just gonna get Derek Carr. We're gonna ride Derek Carr. You're gonna get in the car and we're gonna take the car to the Super Bowl. Hold on now, Jack. Hold on, pump your brakes. All those car puns, man. All of them are valid. All right. Richard says, I think when it comes to Lat and AK from a fan standpoint, I don't blame them if they are not happy. But at the end of the day, those guys are professionals and under contract. They will be ready. Indeed. These are some of our best players, man. Tuck says that if the players needed to be there, having a league making mandatory, they're getting paid $1 million. That's right. They give them the option. I know a lot of people, I would love to see them out there, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, man, it is voluntary. They give them the option to, join us or not. So they'll be ready when the time is come. What's up, L-Dub? What's up, Barbara? Shout out to Barbara as well. Richard, thank you for the comment. All right, Devin says, finally, a coach that understands the importance of the run game to open up the play action. Indeed. We've been calling that out for a while. Thank you for that. All right. Yes. Barbara says, y'all ticking me off about this okra. All that about a Fozzie Bear talking crap. All right. Corey says, making mandatory OTAs is a normal job. Got meetings that you got to be at just to make it the same. They're getting paid millions to play half the year. They could show up. LOL. All right. Thank you for that. He says, if they don't make it mandatory camp, then worry, if they, right. Yeah, that's the problem. So like I said, voluntary is a big part of this thing. They can decide to do it if they want. Now I found there's a poll up that is for you guys to check out. It says, how do you feel about the potential change to OTAs being placed closer to training camp? That is a change the players want because they want an extended period of time to be able to recoup from injuries or just kind of have a rest on their bodies as opposed to the current OTA structure, which we've kind of gotten used to seeing it, our players and whatnot. It's kind of spread it out. And I know how the NFL does it. It kind of spreads out everything in the off season to keep support there. So they don't want too big of gaps in between things. They want to make sure they keep stuff flowing. And that's one of the big things the NFL and most professional leagues struggle with is what they call the off season. What do we do to keep interest going in between the time when they're not playing? So they kind of set up this structure where you see all of these activities happening sparsely through the off season. If this is changed, then it'll kind of push things closer to camp. And what they're saying is they'll have a ramp up period from camp going up, and these OTAs will be clumped with that. So that's the question I ask you. Do you guys like it? Right now, out of all the people polled, and you guys can chime in, the majority of the family members polled, 82% say they like the idea. 18 says, don't like it. So yeah. That's right, Fozzie on that water. Yes, Fozzie was cutting up the other day, man. Yeah. All right. So anyway, let's move on, man. Let's hear from Taysom Hill. Now we heard him, Clint Kubiak, talk at good detail about the offense and players involved in offense. He talked about Derek Carr. Taysom Hill, to me, in terms of what he was as a quarterback under the previous regime, was ineffective. Let's just be honest with you. He was a more effective weapon outside of that. He was the majority of his yardage came as a running back. He was, he caught the ball as a tight end or wide receiver, whatever you want to call him. He was just a guy that did a lot. He was even used a lot on special teams, so he's just a phenomenal player, man, a versatile player. So if you're Klint Kubiak and you have Elvin, you have Kendra, you have Jamal, you have Taysom, I'm saying that should be that's the vehicle in which you run your offense through, because you can count on those guys. I don't think of too many defenses that can counteract that. You know what I'm saying? When you have that, if you're using those guys in the correct fashion, how do you stop those guys? Seriously, how do you stop Alvin Kamara? If the Saints offensive line is doing what it's supposed to do, how do you stop Alvin Kamara? And even if you say, as a runner, it's like, okay, listen, they can have plays where you have Taysom, Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller on the field at the same time. Because you can split Alvin out as a wide receiver. You can move him all around the field in many different ways. And that's the greatness about the versatility of our players. We have some terrific, versatile players that are hard to stop, that are very hard to stop. So it should be no situation where the defense locks in on a certain player. Like if Alvin Kamara is used even as a decoy, they see Alvin out there split, put in the slot. Guys are going to wait. What the hell is going on? They got Alvin Kamara over there in the slot. What is he doing? Oh my goodness, we got to pay attention to that guy. That's more of an opportunity for Rashid Shaheed to get funky, or for Chris Olave to do his thing. And then Taysom running around there, not to mention Jawan Johnson. We got players all over the damn place. We just have to have guys with imaginations to be able to utilize them, right? Well, let's listen from Taysom. This is from the other day. Here we go.
A very different offense for you. You've been around a couple different places on the field so far through 2 weeks. What has it been like for you just kind of getting used to what you're trying to do here now?
I think we're just getting to know each other, Obviously, Clint and the staff has watched what we've done from afar, and, I think we're just figuring out what exactly that's going to be for me and what that role is going to look like. And I think the nice thing is we've got a little time, it's OTAs, so why not do some other stuff?
Are you excited about the new opportunities?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's weird to say after 7 years of doing what I've been doing that I'm being asked to do things that I've never done before. But I think that is exciting. That is exciting to me, and it's challenging, and I love to be challenged like that. So, man, I'm grateful for those guys creating unique opportunities and fun opportunities for me.
How many times do you put your hand in the dirt and see moving around in the backfield?
It's funny. I haven't had to practice my three-point stance for a little while, so I've been doing the tight end stuff. So that's a little more natural than you would expect, but certainly haven't done it out of the backfield like that.
I know you said it's early. Is it a little difficult? A lot of moving pieces for you early on, just trying to learn that offense?
Yeah, there's a lot to learn. So, look, it's one of those things that I think, I haven't learned a new offense for 7 years, and, I think it's nice to be challenged, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can, and learning different positions and what that looks like. And, it's one thing to know what it is on paper, but then, to go do it, against the defense and stuff is another thing. So that really has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we talk about Taysom. Taysom is awesome. Because if you think about what he does, and if there's players all over the field and they are forced to pay attention to an Alvin Kamara that's out there somewhere, Chris Olave that's out there somewhere, or Rashid Shaheed out there somewhere, that space is enough for Taysom Hill, especially if you study with the 49ers, or even go back to the several years ago when you seen what Klint Kubiak did with the Minnesota team when he had the wire, those guys, and how the statistics was piled on. I mean, fam, you just take one player out and put this one in there and be like, do we have a guy that can do that? Yeah, he can do that. And like we saying, they talk a lot about other players and Derek Carr. Man, Alvin Kamara, if stays healthy and the offensive line does what it's supposed to do, he is going to have a major year. He's going to have a huge year, a big year for the Saints this upcoming season. And then Taysom Hill, utilized as a running back, talking about working on his 3-point stance and all this kind of stuff, and how the Saints utilize Taysom Hill got a lot of his yardage just being a quarterback in a direct snap situation or pretending to be a quarterback back then. He'd just take the ball and just run off. And the crazy part is he got Taysom got, what was it, 400 yards, I want to say. Let me look up his statistics right quick. But I know he had 400 yards or something. Let me look at his, hold on right quick. And it's crazy for Taysom Hill to get that kind of yardage because the people were anticipating him. Fam, when he got the ball, he comes in the game, the defense would maul up to the line of scrimmage. I'm like, how the hell is Taysom Hill getting all of his yards? And the defense sees him. When they see him, it was laughable how ridiculously simple the Saints, none of it came with any great degree of difficulty to figure out. Like Taysom Hill rushing, he had how much rushing he had last year? 400 yards, 401 yards. He had 4 rushing touchdowns. He averaged 5 yards per carry, 2 rushes, first down. How was he able to get 5 yards a carry on 81 carries in 16 games last year for the Saints? And the defense knew he was coming. Pause. They knew he was there. How? How do you average 5 yards? You see what I'm saying? Fam, it's ridiculous. Because if you go, I remember the stuff, I remember these games. And every time he would come in, the defense would just crowd the line of scrimmage. They're like, yeah, here he come. And he would still averaged 5 yards a carry with the defense looking, saying, he's coming. He's here. How? That is the greatness of Taysom Hill. When they knew, because that ain't even worked for Jamal Williams. When Jamal Williams came in the game and he get in there and he did what he did. No, this guy averaged 5 yards a carry. And like I said, it was very predictable because when he came in the game, everybody knew what he was going to do. Oh, he going to run the ball. And what? How many times did he throw it last year? 11 times. He completed 6 of 11 for 83 yards. He had 1 passing touchdown. That's what Taysom had. The whole year, 16 games, he went 6 out of 11 for 83 yards. He was 54.5% throwing the ball. When you talk about him running the ball, 401 yards, average 5 yards per carry, 4 rushing touchdowns there. He also had 1 fumble. But Taysom Hill is a dude, that's just really awesome. He had 40 targets, 33 catches for 291 yards and 2 touchdowns. By far, his most, out of all of the stuff that he does, his most productive area of him doing what he do was running the ball. And they knew he was there, and he still got 5 yards to carry. Imagine what happens, family, if it's set up correctly. I'm just putting it out there because that's amazing to know that the defense was crowding the line of scrimmage and the man still got 5 yards to carry. How?
What do you think about Clint and the way he's approached y'all and your interaction with him so far?
It's been super positive. Man, I feel like Clint came in and had a really clear, distinct vision of what we were going to be offensively and how good we can be. And I feel like he came in and has coached with a ton of detail, which has been really, nice. And I love the way that he's approached it. I feel like I'm a detail-oriented guy. I like to know what to do versus different looks, and that's very much how he coaches.
Taysom, different? Is it much easier?
Yeah, it's all different. Yeah. It'd be hard to think of something specific that would be the same from our last offense to this offense. So, look, at the end of the day, there's only so many concepts that you can run offensively. So, conceptually, we've ran a lot of this stuff and blocked it a lot of the same ways, but the verbiage is all new.
Taysom, you said exciting, but I mean, the vision for you was kind of created by this old offensive staff and built on. Is there any trepidation or curiosity? Did they have a vision for me at all here, or what were those early conversations?
Yeah, of course. Certainly you want to be at a place that you want to be wanted, right? And someone that has a vision for you. And Clint and I sat down and had a great conversation in the off season, and he kind of outlined and mapped out how he envisioned me being used. And I would say we had a great, frank conversation, and it was super positive. So, and everything that I've seen to this point has been reflective of that conversation. So,
what was your perception of this offense from the fall when you were kind of watching it?
I mean, I've had a lot of respect for this offense. We've obviously played against it throughout the years, and I think what they have done in the run game that's led to what they've done in the play action game is something that I would say that sticks out in my mind that other teams have done. And then as they've gotten here, it's been a big emphasis. We got to establish a run outside zone and then throw a lot of play action off of it. And then as you look at other teams, that's really what they've done.
Taysom, I don't know how much cut-ups you've watched as they're introducing the offense to you, but if they're talking concepts with you, have you seen some use checks, some Debo, what is the variety of different positions of players that they've talked to you about things they've done?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I have a great answer. I mean, of course, I've watched a lot of different concepts and stuff, but yeah, I think probably all the above, and I think it's one of those things that what we're doing now will probably evolve and look different, in September and October, and I just think that this thing will continue to evolve, and but overall, I don't know, but I think at the end of the day, Clint has made an emphasis of trying to find ways to get me the ball and get me involved.
Is there another?
This and the crazy part about it is, like I said, you look at what they were doing, they being the Niners were doing, and you talk about Debo Samuel and how he was employed, how he was used in reverses, and how he was at times given the ball like a running back, and he excelled in that role. But but if you really look at how they, the 49ers really did, Brock Purdy, he had a phenomenal year for these people, So did Christian McCaffrey. And I don't think Christian McCaffrey's numbers, and this is after all of the injuries. I mean, McCaffrey's been in the league for a while. And I'm looking at his statistics now. I'm trying to pull up his statistics over his entire career to see if he did anything close to what he did and he did not. His best year as a pro in the years that he's been in the NFL was last year. The only, the bigger stats, when you look at it, he had 14 touchdowns. I mean, 2019, he had 15. He had one more. But he averaged 5.4. Let me put this on the screen because you look at, we'll come back to Taysom in a moment, but you look at what Christian McCaffrey, and this is the kind of amplify the point that I was talking about with Alvin Kamara. Look at these numbers from the 49ers, Christian McCaffrey last year. 272 carries. That was tied for second in the league. He had 1,459 rushing yards. That was tied for first. He had 14 touchdowns. He did 15 in 2019. So he was one better. And he averaged almost 5.5 yards per carry. He had a phenomenal year for the 49ers. He really did. A phenomenal year. Then his receiving, he had to go along with those gaudy running stats. he gave him 67 catches and 7 touchdowns. He averaged 8.4 yards per catch. This is Christian McCaffrey. These are numbers that you would hope that the Saints would come close to. I mean, AK-41 last year had what, 700 something odd yards, like half of the production that Christian McCaffrey have. But we know Alvin Kamara is, in my opinion, is comparable to, I think he can do the same things that Christian McCaffrey does. I really do think so. I think there's some things that he does better than Christian McCaffrey. I'm gonna just say that. But these are ridiculous stats when you talk about what the 49ers, what could be. You know, Brock Purdy's numbers. Could you see these numbers with Derek Carr? I mean, it's not nothing new. Derek Carr did throw for 4,000 yards, you know, a couple of times under John Gruden, so it's not an impossibility. But Brock Purdy, over 4,200 yards passing. He averaged almost 10 yards per throw, 267.5 yards per game. He had 31 touchdowns against 11 interceptions. Gaudy numbers, man. Then you look at, can Chris Olave be this guy? Well, he can get 75. I think that can be a regular thing for him. I could see him as an 80 plus catch guy, Chris Olave. 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns. I think he can get what Brandon Ayuk got. Kittles is there with his 65 catch. It wasn't nothing big from Kittles. He helped out. But look at these players, man. You know, and Christian McCaffrey was second in the team in receiving. He had 67 catches, 65 by the tight end Kittle, 60 by Deebo Samuels. But the averages that they have was ridiculous. Ayuk had 18 yards per catch, 16 by Kittles per catch. Samuel had 15 per catch, and Christian McCaffrey's 8.4. And even Juwan Jennings, who they just re-signed, 14 yards per catch. These are gaudy numbers, offensively speaking. Can these numbers be what the Saints offense look like in 2024? Because you kind of moving players out and you look at the players that the 49ers have, and it takes players to be able to produce stats like these, real good players, in which Alvin Kamara to me could do what Christian McCaffrey can do if everything works out that way. I think that Chris Olave can do what Brandon Ayuk did for the 49ers. Brock Purdy, it could possibly be. We could see under John Gruden, you did see Carr get 4,000 yards a season a couple of times. So it's just something I'm thinking about. I'm mulling over, and it adds to the point. You see what I'm saying, fam? It adds to the point because this is what we're looking at. They always talk about the 49ers this and the 49ers that. Well, let's look at it statistically. Can they do this? I hope so, man. We'll see.
Who plays a similar role to you? Like when you study things that other teams are doing, is there anyone that you would say, yeah, they're used like me a lot? So that
I don't know. I don't know that there's not a guy. I think the unique thing about what I've done is that.
Hold on. I'm sorry, fam. The question was asked by 504. Was it 504 Cole? Asked about should we sign Jimmy Graham? He's asking my thoughts on it. Yeah, brother. I'm sorry. I just kind of start thinking, you know how I am sometimes. I start thinking about stuff. Everything kind of goes out the window. But Q, do you think we should bring Jimmy Graham back? I've been seeing a few rumors. I don't have any problem with that, fam. And we know that Jimmy Graham will work for cheap. He took a cheap contract to come back with the Saints last year. I mean, Jimmy Graham was in great shape last year. The Saints just underutilized him like they underutilized Alvin Kamara. You know, it was games. It was just stupid. Let's just be honest, okay? Let's just be honest. It was very stupid, weak, feeble-minded, and completely just unlogical, just terrible. For the Saints to struggle in the red zone like they did early in the season and had Jimmy Graham standing out there on the sideline. And people asking, why isn't Jimmy Graham in the game? Why isn't he in the game? Well, he's being waiting there at the right time. And when he's right, we'll put him in the game. Is he hurt? No, he ain't hurt. How many games did the Saints have last year when Jimmy Graham was a healthy scratch? There was nothing wrong with him, but he was a healthy scratch for somebody else that didn't even play or played very little. And Saints was struggling in the red zone. These people on the radio is not going to even talk about that. They're not going to bring light to that because they don't want to shame these people. But that was a question the great Saint think tank and the entire Who That Nation was saying. Like, why? What's going on with Jimmy Graham? Is he hurt? No. Dennis Allen told us several times, oh, he's not hurt. Then why isn't he playing? Even the media was asking that question. Why is he not playing? Why? What's wrong? What's going on? Well, he's there, and when the right time comes, we'll get him in there. And then the pressure of the questions every week of why he's not playing. Eventually, they did get him in there to play, but they didn't play him, not even nearly as much as they should have played him, especially when they needed help in the red zone. Made no sense. Now, could Kubiak and offensive minds, the brass, use a Jimmy Graham with the Saints tight end room? I say they can, because Taysom Hill, I'm not saying he's not going to be using that role, but sounds like that they have an idea for what they want to do with Taysom, and it involves him being more of a running back. You might have some trickeration there where you might toss the ball out to him, to the right side. He runs like he's about to run toward the right, off to the right side, outside that right tackle. And then the defense converges on him, and then he just pulls up and throws the ball to Chris Olave down the field in one-on-one coverage. Because the safety seeing him roll over there, he rolls over there. The safety follows him over there. Then he leads a one-on-one matchup with Chris Olave, and Taysom just stops and just throws the ball. I could see that happening. I could see that, them having a little trickeration with that every now and again, but stuff like that. But for the most part, you would kind of see Taysom Hill as a runner. Like I said, statistically speaking, it's the Kyle Juszczyk role for Taysom. But like I said, they use Kyle Juszczyk a lot in San Francisco in different ways. But listen, if you turn Taysom Hill into something similar to what the Niners are using with Kyle Juszczyk, their fullback, fam, that's a whole different thing. Because Taysom Hill is outrunning linebackers. He's faster than most cornerbacks and safeties. Cornerbacks keep up with him. They don't want to tackle him. He loves running. He loves the contact. Yeah, you see him. I put one in the chat if y'all see Taysom Hill run over somebody and get up and start bouncing like a jackrabbit. That gets him pumped. Man, Taysom loves running over defensive backs. He loves it. He loves it. They don't want to tackle that guy. Let me tell you something. That's a whole nother. He is in a foot race. Man, he gets out there and he's tough, he's physical, and he's fast. And I don't see Kyle Juszczyk running like no Taysom Hill. That's, fam. If they're using Taysom as a fullback and he can get the ball and he can catch like a wide receiver, catch like a tight end. He also blocks well. They use him on special teams when you need a spark. Taysom, you put Taysom wherever you need him at. But if you can centralize and focus him in the area where you can get the most out of him, fam, man, listen, that's a playmaker that's very difficult to scheme for, especially if you're worried about Elvin and you're worried about Kendra, or you're worried about Chris and you're worried about Rashid, you're worried about Juwan Johnson. These guys is almost too much for them to account for, So this is interesting all within itself. But Jimmy Graham would definitely help. My question, should they bring him back? He would work for cheap, and I would love to see Jimmy Graham in a more effective offense. So I wouldn't have a problem with them bringing Jimmy Graham back, because we're probably not going to see a lot of Taysom for the tight end. And if you look at the tight end room right now, it's Juwan Johnson, it's Foster Moreau, and then it's probably going to be a undrafted guy, one of the undrafted guys, because we got a bunch of them. Pick them. A lot of people say Dalen Hawker. Okay, cool, because he does have a skill set that probably would end up putting him up there. But I have no problem with them bringing Jimmy Graham back. He'll work for cheap, and it'll be cool to see him be a part of something successful, to be honest with you. Thank you, bro. Here we go.
I've played quarterback, in this league and won games, at the quarterback position. So as you start to think about me running the ball or me taking a direct snap, like there's always a threat of me playing the quarterback position, and I think that's been what's been unique about what I've done and what's opened different opportunities for us offensively.
You talked about being a threat. I mean, how much more of a threat would you be in this new scheme?
Yeah, I think the more that I do, the harder it is to defend, And so like I said, Clint has been moving me around, and I had a conversation with Coach Hodges earlier today, and he was like, "Hey, what, trying to figure out a personnel grouping and what that does for me." And they were trying to figure out what defensively, how are they going to match up, and what are they going to do against that personnel. So I think the more that we can do, the better and harder it is to defend.
What? How many times have you taken the ball as a running back in your life?
I don't know, not very many.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think of a couple carries that I got at the running back position through the years, but I don't know, 10. It's not very many. So that has been new. Just figuring out different tracks and stuff, and that has been new.
What's better, and what's? I mean, I know what's more advantageous as the quarterback is you have the 11 on 11 advantage. But what is better about taking the ball as a running back?
Well, I mean, I think that at the end of the day, it all ends up being the same. You can call the same plays, right? Whether it's a direct snap to me or whether you're handing it off, you just gain an advantage, number-wise that way. So, I don't know. I'm adjusting. So at the end of the day, I think my vision as a runner getting a handoff ends up being the same, but certainly comfort-wise, getting a direct snap and seeing, how it's blocked and the defense and what they do and reading blocks that way is probably a little more natural for me.
This is the thing that I've kind of observed from the whole situation with the Taysom Hill thing. Like I just talked about the statistics family, and we just watching the games, and like I said, all of the games, the preseason game, regular season games, I do the actual play-by-play for the games here on this channel. So I'll go by every play, good and bad or indifferent, that the Saints have in terms of Taysom Hill. When you talk about blocking, getting the ball from a direct snap or getting it there, just going over what, when I'm hearing from John Benton, the offensive line coach, John Benton is talking about getting his runner, to an area of the field, like getting to a spot, like getting his blockers to a spot to kind of wall off defenders and allowing lanes where guys as quick as Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, Taysom Hill, and Jamal Williams can get to the next level. Like if we can get the runners to the second level of the defense, because that was a major problem with the Saints. Saints had to work a lot because those running lanes wasn't open like they were supposed to, and guys Elvin was running up in there. He was getting 2 yards a carry, get frustrated and drop the ball. That was very ugly. But based on what John Benton is talking about, and if you go back and watch what they did with the 49ers last year, kind of creating angles where runners as fast as Taysom and Elvin can get in there, unprohibited. Getting Elvin and Taysom to the second. And like I said, the statistics, you look at the statistics behind Taysom Hill, and I'm like, how in the hell did Taysom Hill average 5 yards a carry for the Saints last year as a running player, right? Out of the quarterback job. Now, he didn't have a lot of blocking. Think about what I'm saying, fam. Like when he played quarterback a lot. He just didn't throw the ball. He ran a lot. The man averaged 5 yards a carry, and he was basically back there by himself without a blocker. I'm not saying like a fullback, a lead blocker. He had his offensive line around him, but as having a lead blocker there for him, the majority of the time there was nothing. That was just straight up Taysom getting the yardage, and they knew that was going to happen. The defense knew when Taysom got back there, them people crowded that line, and that man still got 5 yards to carry. How? That is the toughness and greatness that Taysom Hill represents. So if you can take, just that sample size and magnify it to the point where you can get this guy here, to the second level of the goddamn defense, where they wall what John Benton said, we walling guys off, and get them up to the second level and the third level into where the DBs live at. And this guy here, man, come on. That's something that I don't think too many people. And like I said, you have a difficulty dealing with Elvin Kamara because I think Elvin Kamara could put up these gaudy ass stats that we see Christian McCaffrey did last year for them because he can run, he can catch, he can do it all. And my thing is, if I could have it, I wouldn't. I know I let Elvin get a break, but he's so well conditioned, man. I wouldn't let Elvin Kamara leave the field very much. Why? Because it's so many different applications to his game. Even if you're not throwing Elvin the ball, you can still put him out there and decoy him. You still could decoy him and it would work. You can get plus plays off of decoying Elvin Kamara because they're like, oh, well, shit, Elvin out there. You got to pay attention. He draws attention. And you got Elvin and you got Taysom. Come on. So, like I said, if done correctly, this is going to be interesting. How the hell did Taysom Hill get 5 yards of carry in the defense? See him get out there when they called the Taysom Hill package, the RPO package. It's the defense crowds up the line of scrimmage, and he still averaged 5 yards on the season. That is ridiculous, man. That's amazing. I just like in my head, I'm like, man, could you imagine if they actually block for him where he can get to the second and beyond? This could be something awesome. This could be something we probably ain't seen in a long time, if ever. Him and others. Elvin, all those guys. It's going to be, man, if they can work it the right way, man. The talent is there. You just have to have the imagination and the work ethic, attention to detail to get these guys blocking correctly. Shout out to you, King Chosen One. I see you, fam. Shout out to you, Brother Ramsey. Much love to you, Brother Wallace. How you doing, sir? Good to see you in the chat as well. All right. Thank you, Spice. Appreciate you, fam, for the commentary. Brother Reginald says offense will be better than last year. What you think, Big Q? Bro, I'm hoping for it, bro. But listen, like I said, I was very critical of Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis. I was very critical of him. And while I'm kind of dialing back, and I told the family members about this on Patreon a couple of shows ago, but I said, family, the reason why I'm dealing back is everything that we was saying over the last 2 years, family, about the Saints, they've basically come out and say everything we said, almost verbatim, even down to the Trevor Penning thing. It's crazy. Go back and listen to the shows. Go back and check me out. Fam, we was saying this the whole time about all of this stuff, and it's just such a relief to hear them say it, and say it in a clumped up bunch of interviews that came out not too long ago, a few days back, right? All the interviews come out, and they were sounding like the Sports Coma and the Great Saint Think Tank. Like, what? Did you hear that? Everything, man. What we gonna do? We're gonna put Penning on the right side, man. I've been saying that. Even when they drafted the kid, man, I was saying it I was like, man, this is a bad idea. Don't put that rookie ass guy over there. He's not ready for that. It crashed and burned. I said, put him on the right side. Prior weeks before Dennis Allen comes out and says what he says about we're going to put Ramczyk. Not Ramczyk. We're going to put Penning on the right side, have a positional. I said the same words. I said, fam, don't do that to him. Don't put him on the left side. You need to have a mental and positional reset where the kid has all that. That dude almost said the same shit I said here. And I said it months before. It just all of it. So you start saying, y'all, that's why I call it the Great Saint Think Tank, man. We put our minds together, we talk about it, and more intelligently. We don't just fan it out. You know what I'm saying? It involves, we talk. It's a think tank. We put all our ideas together, and we just consistently kept pushing it out there, kept pushing it out there to the point where we done turned it into a magnaphone. What you call it? A bullhorn. Well, we were bullhorning, and then all of a sudden they started parroting what you were saying. I was like, there you go. We right where we supposed. So like I said, man, it's just, I like how they're talking now, because they're talking accountability. They're talking about attention to detail. They're talking about getting the quarterback, because it was so frustrating seeing Derek Carr staring people down, and then the coaches pretend like he's not staring people down. He's staring guys down. I got so tired of hearing Derek Carr get up here. I don't know why Michael Thomas is mad at me or this guy's mad at me, because they're out there running these routes at full speed and you're not even going through your goddamn progressions. Any quarterback you're not supposed to stare down anybody. You're not supposed to do it. Even if you like the target that you're going to your left, you're supposed to glance at it, still go through your progressions, and even pump fake to the right before you go back to the guy you wanted on the left. Why? Because you freeze the safeties. Them guys are too fast and they're reading your eyes. Where is he looking at? The majority of the time, if you stand over there, them guys saying he sees something that he like, let me get on over there and I'm going to go and get that ball when he throws it. And that's what they read in his eyes. You cannot stare down anybody. And Derek Carr was on film constantly, game after game, staring people down when they had either wide open guys running to the opposite side of the field or single covered guys running to the opposite side of the field. He's up there. I don't know why people giving Derek Carr a hard time. What? And then is supposed to be watching film, but never one time in the entire season. Put one in the chat if I'm telling the truth. Not one time in the entire season did Derek Carr ever say, you know what? I got to stop staring people down. That's the problem. I got to go through my progressions correctly because I am staring people down and I can understand why these guys get frustrated. That's a big problem. That pick six that he threw in that Atlanta game that killed it for us was a stare down. He stared that guy down, then forced that ball in there. It was a bad throw. It was going to get picked off anyway because the way he threw it looked like it was going to the other defender, and Bates stepped in front of it and took it to the house. He stared the guy down on that. So like I said, it's the tape. If you're really studying the tape like you're supposed to and you're watching the same film we looking at, by the way, it's not a specialty film that they seeing that we not seeing. They seeing the same film. And if you're looking at film the way you're supposed to, you would see that you're staring guys down. That guy never said that. And then asking why everybody so hard on Derek Carr. Are you kidding, man? Are you kidding? Kidding, bro. Don't stop that. Y'all go do your research. I'm not talking to the Great Saint Think Tank because y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all watched it. Y'all seen it. So this is the difference this year is he said it himself, and I played it on the show, that Klint Kubiak and Andrew Janocko have been on him on everything that he's doing. They want his footwork to be this. They want him to go. They working on his progressions. They called it his progressions, his timing. Those are all things that I was talking about all last year. I was like, this dude's holding the ball too long. This dude's staring down people too long. He's staring people down. And then the coach don't say nothing. Pete Carmichael's supposed to be watching film, nothing going on. I'm like, how you studying film and you don't tell that guy to stop staring people down? Go through his damn progressions. Stop being lazy and checking it down all the time. They got people out there and he checking it down. They had people that were open or single cover that was a better option and he checking it down. Man, come on, bro. Football is football, man. But I'm just keeping it real. Like I said, man, we studied the film. We studied the film on Patreon. We did it the whole season. So like I said, man, Andrew, the difference is from as opposed to last year, we didn't have that accountability. Guys wasn't telling him, hey, bro, stop doing that. I don't care who you are, how much money you make. Stop doing that, please. These guys are saying you're not going to do that. You're not going to stare down, guys. You're not going to hold that ball long. We're working on getting your progressions together, speeding you up. We're going to give you a running attack. We need you to get the ball out. It's a timed offense. That's how this is going to work. We can't have you slowing it down. Everybody got to be on time. That means a big difference from last year. It does. So if they can do that, set the floor for that, and maintain that, fam, that's a big plus. Because like I said it the whole season. The Saints failed last year. And we're going to just talk about last year. They failed last year because the team was mismanaged. They were mismanaged. And the reason why a lot of the failure happened was self-inflicted. The non-accountability. That's why you had players like Lattimore. That's why I take up for Lattimore and Michael Thomas, because those guys, they were trying to tell the truth. They was trying to, kind of lay it out there. They with the social media. What else they were supposed to do? They were frustrated. And like I said, we really shouldn't hear them, but you got to have a place to vent frustration. And they just, Michael Thomas loves his Twitter, and like I said, you can get a lot of good information from Twitter, man, that you're not going to get from the Saints. That's how we found out about Drew Brees. Remember when Drew Brees got crunched up? When that big guy fell on him and broke him all up, his wife was on Twitter and she was like, she laid out all his injuries. That's how we figured out what was wrong with him. It wasn't from the Saints. It was Drew's wife. We covered it on the show. The whole Michael Thomas thing, he had got some type of injury. We found that out about him telling it on Twitter. Man, I'm not going to shame whatever they called it, not X, whatever. But I'm not going to shame none of that. That's how we get some good information, because we damn sure ain't going to get no information from Dennis Allen. Let me tell you something. Remember what Dennis Allen said, man? He just told you about Passanio. Passanio is tore his Achilles tendon, and he's pretty much done for the season, but they're saying, some reports are saying that he's out indefinitely. Dennis Allen says he's not going to rule him out, but if he comes back, it'll be more than likely toward the season, end of the season, or whatever the case may be. Fam, if they asked him, hey, when did this happen? And pretty much Dennis Allen was like, oh, this happened early in the season. What? So why you, and see, the reason they found out about it, because the reporters was making a list of people who wasn't at practice, and he went down the list and see who was at practice. It was like, okay, what about this person? Well, this person got an illness. This person is dealing with something with their family. This such and such, whatever. And then they get to Passanio, oh yeah, he has a torn Achilles heel. He probably gonna be out for the season. What? When did this happen? Oh, this happened early in the offseason. What? And why didn't you say it then? Well, whatever, man. We don't just we tell your ass when we feel like it. What? I was like, what? When did that happen? Oh, it happened early in the season. Dude, why we, what? But that's just what they do. You see what I'm talking about? What? And he was like, when did that happen? Early in the off season. What? Oh yeah, it happened early off the season. Matter of fact, in the Saints practice facility, you tore it up. And we like, but that's status Saints. That's how they do it, fam. Like I said, you'll find a lot of stuff out on social media that they just won't tell you, fam. It's what it is. All right. Rico said Card fans don't believe that. They don't study film if they don't see that, because everything I'm hitting them with, I'm telling them come right up off the film. I don't have time to be sitting up here talking about Derek Carr in a negative fashion, man. The film shows it. They might be car lovers out there, man, and some people you can't reach even with the truth and the facts. You show them the video, tell them go look it up, they'll blame somebody else. It's just ridiculous. But that's why I talk to you guys. I don't talk to people that you can't approach with logic, man. When I'm not going to be I learned a long time ago not to fuss with a fool. That makes you a fool too. We just going to let them wallow along in stupidity. I ain't got time for all of that, man. If you a smart person, a smart adult, or a smart kid, and you want to talk football, come on, talk to the Sports Coma, the Great Saint Think Tank, and the Who That Nation over here. That's what we do. If you one of them other type of people, I ain't got no time for you, fam. I'm sorry, I don't. It's too late in the game for that, man. All right, Reggie says, Q, you called it the Great Saint Think Tank, Who That, fam. Maybe Saints are listening to the fam. We've been doing this for a while, and I got people, I ain't going to leak too much, but I know for certain. I've been told by multiple people. I even know who they are. I'm not going to tell you, because like I always hit you with that word on the street. Word of the street means something. It means something. Word on the street. I always hit you with that word on the street. I know who they are. All right. Tuck says, yeah, this Carr's second NFL team, he probably is a little fish out of water. Well, I think it'll be better for him this year simply because, what's up, Bike Life? Shout out to you, fam. Terra 6, how you doing, man? You got a new profile. Kelvin, what's up, Kelvin? How you doing, fam? Thank you, Reginald. Appreciate it, bro. Corey says, I thought Passenger was one of the better players, so I think it's going to be a problem. Well, it'll be an opportunity now, because I don't think Passenger, a lot of it, like Passenger's 29, I want to say. But he's been a solid reserve for the Saints. He really has, man. Passenger has been a solid reserve for the Saints, because they use him as a pass rusher when they need to. Sometimes they kick him inside because he's 6'7", 300 pounds. He's not a big plotting 6'7". He's an athletic 6'7". He ain't super fast, but he's a difficult lineman to deal with because he's big. He got a big wingspan. He bats the ball down at the line of scrimmage, and he's difficult to block. So, I mean, he was a solid key role player for the Saints from many different perspectives. It just gives other guys an opportunity to step up, the Isaiah Foskey's of the world, the Peyton Turners of the world need to step up and do something. It'll give Christian Boyd and a few other guys, interiorly speaking, maybe we'll see somebody step up. And perhaps the Saints, before training camp starts, they'll bring in, well, there's Vickers. They brought in Vickers as a defensive lineman. We'll see what he can do. But, you know, maybe they'll bring in another cheaper defensive tackle to kind of fill out the roster, man. We'll see. All right. Yeah, it's very interesting, man. All right. Yeah, I think, like I said, fam, we'll see. But, yeah, it's just one of those situations, man, where I just think, man, at the end of the day, you know, I think we're going to be interesting to watch. I absolutely like what I see going on with the black and gold currently in terms of how they're talking, because that sets the floor. And we talk about culture. That's where it comes from. Like you have to have accountability. And even Elvin talked about that, the lack of accountability. He didn't say those words, but what he did say was guys with false starting. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all remember this. He said guys were false starting in practice and nobody would say anything. And he said he would look around. He said, okay. That's how he was. That's what he put that out there. Guys were false starting in practice, and not the coach, not the coordinator, nobody. False starting and nobody saying nothing. What kind of team you think gonna win like that? If nobody getting called out for false starting. You had all those miscues, and the Saints, don't forget all of the miscues, the pre-snap penalties the Saints had. Remember, we had a game, I forgot what game it was, where we had like 3 false starts in a row. Y'all remember that? Y'all put one in the chat if you remember that. Remember the game where we had like 3 straight false starts? I'm like, what is going on here? I think Andrews Pete was 2 of them. I think one was Hurst and 2 was Pete. I forgot what it was, but it was like either 2 or 3 false starts in a row. Y'all remember that? I'm like, fam, what are these people doing? But you could tell when the team practiced correctly, you could see a smoothness and a flow and a confidence from the team, offensive, defensive, and special teams wise, when the game hits, because you can see that it's a comfort, it's a confidence that they have, that they play with. And we just, man, I was like, what are we doing, man? So, like I said, just that on its face about Kubiak saying how he wants his practices to run and, just keeping up on Derek Carr and all this type of stuff, hitting these guys, giving them a lot to learn right now, because the truth is the season will be here before you know it, and they got to expose him to the system, because they say it's a QB friendly system, but we'll see if the man can pick it up, but you got to give him a running attack to help out. Look, all them ones, man. Y'all remember that? Wallacey, I believe we're going to win 12 games. This shit, I can see it. Okay, this year. Thank you. What's up, Debbie? Shout out to you, Trap Star. See you, Trap Star 318. Shout out to you. Yeah, Antoinette says, you remember? Oh, yeah, I remember that. What's up, Brother Nolans? How you doing? He said we could really use a good head coach. Yes, indeed. All right, so anyway, man, listen, I'm going to what's up, Corey? With that, I'm going to get ready to get on that, man. But listen, man, like I said, I just want to leave y'all with that, man. Like, we have the talent. And if you have the coaches that are serious about winning, that have attention to detail, that will stay on these guys and make sure they go through their progressions, make sure their timing is right. He was talking about working on his footwork. That was something didn't even pay much attention to when he mentioned his footwork. And I was like, he said that. Now, I didn't say nothing about his footwork. I always talked about his progressions, his timing, because I knew that was problematic. He held the ball too long and he stared down. He took too long to progress, to go through those progressions. But they talked about redoing his footwork. They seen his footwork as a problem. Maybe stepping in and delivering the ball, stuff like that. But they see something in him that needs to change, needs to be fixed, and those 3 things they're working on it. And John Benton with the offensive line. Would love to hear more from him. And I know we're going to get more interviews from John Benton. We'd love to hear like a 15, 20-minute interview with John Benton and Klint Kubiak, just exclusively just talking about their systems. That's what I'm really, I know they can't tell you too much, but ain't gonna give you the nuts and bolts of the system, but just put you in the mind. And we'll see that as the season progresses as well. We see more of these practice sessions as well. But listen, I'm gonna get ready to get out on that. It is what it is. All right, but shout out to B Frank, man, over there on the ground, man. Good to see you, fam. Appreciate you chiming in. I'm gonna get ready to get on there. I appreciate y'all, man, for all that y'all do, for chiming in on it tonight. Listen, man, y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Please feel free to share the show, fam. Show it on your social media. Give us a share. If you listen to us on Twitter, hit the retweet button, or X, whatever you want to call it. Hit the X. How is it retweet? It's X, but it's still called the retweet. They're gonna have to call that something else then. It's just too damn going back and forth. Or it's called X now, but you gotta retweet when you hit the button. You gotta change that around, brother. Make that something else so people don't have to keep bouncing back and forth. If it's a full out rebranding, rebrand every damn thing. Why don't you? But y'all know what I mean. But y'all hit the retweet on X and share buttons, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, Twitch, LinkedIn. We all over the place. But listen, man, I'm gonna pop up here and holler at you on the next one, man. Y'all keep y'all heads up in the clouds, and not in the clouds where you can't see nothing, but keep your heads up, be positive is what I'm saying, man. But we're gonna move forward on this, man. Like I said, I'm very pleased is the word about what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from the Saints and the players, man. It seems like they're on the correct direction, and that's where we want them to be. So that's a positive. But anyway, with that being said, I'm out. I'm gonna holler at y'all on the next one. Peace. Who that to you?
Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. Thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us.
That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who That too.